Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about the new game mode that we got with the latest update, Alliance Raid. It's got a lot of people liking it, it's got a lot of people hating it, so I wanted to cover as much as I could, give you my thoughts, give you my impressions, and the rewards that you get for completing it, because we've now gone through the first week's cycle for Alliance Raid, and then give hopefully Netmarble, if they're paying attention, some pointers and some tips on how they can improve this game mode, because I do think that it has a lot of potential. It's just not reaching that potential just yet. So here we go. This is what you see at the week's end of the Alliance Raid. We have the top three players from the Alliance, from your Alliance. In this case, this is my Alliance. And who scored the most. So that's really nice to see. I was rank 5. And then we see the rewards here at the bottom. You get a lot of Alliance XP, which primarily benefits alliances that are still building themselves up, because obviously level 30 alliances with level 10 stores do not need any of these first two items, but that's okay. And then you get 1 million, just over 1 million gold. We'll just call it 1 million gold to be kind of safe. Okay, and then it costs an extra 15,000 alliance tokens or alliance points to open up another raid or to activate another raid. Right now, this alliance has been active for like less than 2 months, and we already have almost 1 million raid points. So it's very, very easy to accumulate enough with just basic activity, playing Alliance Conquest very casually to get enough points to open another raid. Last time we got Ymir, the boss there on the right next to Fenris the Wolf. Or on the left, sorry, and let's see what we're gonna get this time. Okay, this time we got a different boss, and if you guys are not familiar with the raid mechanics, I'll now go through them. So essentially, we have a bar at the bottom with these, with HP, with 1 million HP, and then we've got these 3 boxes as kind of pointers. We have the bronze, silver, and gold boxes. Now, unfortunately, I was under the impression that each box would have items associated with it that you unlock, but as it seems, you only get the items on the right from the box. So the bronze box only has 10,000 XP, 10,000 store XP, and 150,000 gold, which is pretty disappointing. I honestly thought, and I honestly think, that the boxes should have items in them. Random items, be it or perhaps the bronze item could be mostly gear up kits and dimension debris, the silver item could be mostly ISO and comic cards, and the gold one could be, you know, black antimatter, chaos nornstones, possibly phoenix feathers, possibly even tier 3 materials like cosmic fragments and things like that, because it's the most difficult boss to obtain. It's the one when you beat the boss totally. But that's a suggestion for future iterations of Alliance Raid. Don't panic yet. We've only had the game mode for, you know, about a week and a half now. Or a week. And then essentially how you beat the boss is you get a certain number of set points by completing a stage on either easy, normal, or hard. Now keep in mind that the criteria for the requirements, supervillain or universal male, those will change depending on the difficulty. My suggestion is to always do hard mode, because you're going to save the number of characters that you have, because every attempt will use your characters and you will not be able to use them again. Yes, the criteria for hard and normal are different, so you can technically pull from, well, not in this case 2 separate pools of characters, but almost. Sometimes if one is male and one is female, you can pull from different ones. But the only other difference between easy, normal, and hard, of course, besides the difficulty of the boss, and keep in mind everything is super easy on this, so hard is not hard at all, is the fact that it costs 10 tokens for easy, it costs 15 for normal, and 20 for hard. So doing easy twice is the same as doing hard once, and you get the same number of points because you just multiply 48 by 2 and you get 96. But in the easy way, you're using up 6 characters from your roster versus only using up 3 from hard mode, because you need to enter with 3 characters and you need to beat the boss, hopefully. So my suggestion is just do 1 play per day and play it on hard. I think a lot of people have been complaining that the cost associated with Alliance Raid is not worthwhile. So in total, if you play once per day for the 7 days of the raid boss, you will be spending the equivalent of 1.4 million gold, because 20 tokens there at the bottom, 20 of those red tokens, each of those 20 tokens costs, or in 20 boxes or 20 kind of fragments, costs 200,000 gold. And you can just figure that out pretty straightforwardly by going to the donation page. You get 100 tokens by donating 1,000,000 gold. So you kind of could just do the math there. I'm not going to do it out for you now because I'm going to mess it up or mis-explain it. So if you have enough active people in your alliance, you only need to run once per day. And yes, that will still cost you more than you're getting from the alliance raid itself. Like we said before, you get about 1,000,000 gold from the alliance raid, and I'll show you over here now. And you costs 1.4 million gold to enter for 7 days straight. Now that is true, but that doesn't take into consideration the alliance raid chests. And I saved up 6 alliance raid chests to open with you guys right now to show you what you can expect from these rewards. Now, I know a lot of people are going to complain here as well. Cynicalex, I got to mention Debris, these rewards are garbage, it's way too random. Yes, there's always a form of variance when it comes to these kinds of loot boxes. I don't want to say that word too many times, but overall you can expect some kind of consistency in that variance. There's always some sort of statistical average for what you're going to get. So while you're not going to get a good reward every single time, even if you get a reward once every 7 days, you can count on that reward most of the time. And I think overall, once you do this experiment, either right now with me when I open these boxes, and there we go, or by yourself, you'll come to the conclusion that in fact it is worth it. Now right away I would say this is probably worth about 400,000 gold. It might not be worth it to you, but I think to me, with the 1,000,000 that I just got and the 1.4 million that I invested from Alliance Raid, I invested more because I played a lot on the first day during the kind of update live stream, but that's besides the point. I think I've gotten my money's worth back at this point. And then there we go, we doubled down on the BAM. We get some Norn stones, and keep in mind this helps especially new and intermediate accounts that are building up their first native tier 2s. They get an extra 150, 200 materials that they need to build up these characters. Now, it may not be worth it for you, but then that's a consideration you need to take in for yourself, not necessarily something that's going to be true for everyone. But let's go in and see what we can kind of glean from these missions. We're going to do one really quickly here. We need universal males. I love Thor, and he's part of Asgard as these raid bosses are. So we're just going to drop him in here with a pretty straightforward leadership and just any extra third here with the other guy to hold his hammer in the Age of Ultron movie. Was it Age of Ultron? Yeah, definitely. Vision wasn't in any of the movies. So this is the raid boss. It looks exactly like World Boss Invasion if you haven't played either one. And the only difference is that you're by yourself. You're not using your friends. You're just using your own resources and challenge. It'll be pretty challenging for you to play this game mode, I think, without a tier 2 character. So keep that in mind. If you're bringing in tier 1s, you're going to have a difficulty. I think they have a damage reduction penalty. But there you go. I completed it in 5 seconds and I get the full points. Even if your other characters die, so even if Black Bolt had died and Vision had died and it had taken me 5 minutes, I would still get the full raid points, the 9,600. So don't worry too much about acing the game or the fight. And that's basically how it works. So if I go over to the Alliance raid status, I can see who has played and who hasn't. It's very early and I just opened the raid, so of course I'm number 1. And this will be a really cool way for you to gauge the participation rate of your alliance. So I do think that the raid status and the accumulated raid points and the kind of competition that you can enter with your teammates and your alliance members on this page specifically is actually very good, and I think that encourages some competition within intra alliance, kind of like how people compete for ABX scores, but it's a bit less frustrating because you're just completing plays. You're not replaying the same thing over and over again to get a slightly higher score. You're still replaying the same boss, but at least you're doing it in this case with different characters. But there are definitely some flaws with the Alliance raid system, and I want to go over the flaws right now. I think the biggest flaw, and I think the biggest complaint that people have right now, is that it's not co-op. It's not really truly an Alliance game mode. But if you think about it, just based on the logic of that, the current Alliance battles that we have are also not very well. Some of them are and some of them aren't. Alliance Battle for One is not an Alliance mode. You play by yourself, and we have since it was introduced. Alliance Tournament and Alliance Conquest are different, but that's just one point I wanted to put out there. But I do agree with the fact that the Alliance raid is not co-op, and I think Netmarble can fix this with a pretty simple change. They can change it so that, and this is my suggestion, Netmarble, so get your notepads and your pens. change it so that you can have basically the option to play co-op or the option to play solo. Kind of the way that you have the option to do a quick battle in co-op mode, or you have the option to not do quick match and you have the option to create a private kind of lobby and then invite people. But in this case, you would only allow people to be invited from your alliance, and you could make it a co-op with one other person, so just a duo fight, or you could make it a classic 3 team co-op with 2 other alliance members. And if you did that, you could basically create a situation where you get a multiplied point bonus. So that would encourage people to play with their alliance members, but it wouldn't punish alliances for not playing with each other, because who knows, maybe their alliance, this alliance or that alliance, has everyone on different time zones and they really just can't play together, but they want to play together apart. So in that case, they can still play the way that this one was designed, they just won't get as many points as quickly. So you would basically make it easier for very coordinated alliances to defeat the raid boss, defeat that bar at the bottom, the kind of ultimate health bar, but you wouldn't exclude alliances that couldn't play together. So that would be a really easy fix for, I think, the biggest complaint from the community, and it would give a really nice place for us to play with our friends and our alliance members, and I think it would encourage a lot of communication between alliances. Hey, you know, you message someone online or something, you want to go play some alliance raid, yeah, come on, let's go, invite me. But I think that kind of lends itself into the second problem, which is the entry fee. I think right now the entry fee of 200,000 gold essentially is wrong. It's wrong not only because it's 200,000 gold, and I think that's way too much, but also because we get a finite number of tokens per day. Now, Netmarble has been good about bringing back these double token events. So right now, for 1 million gold, you're getting 200 tokens, which does kind of ruin my comparison, and it makes the coins cost, or the tokens rather, cost less than 200,000 for 20. But most of the time we don't have this donation times 2 event going on, and so that is the norm, and it's just way too much. We only have 100 to play with per day, and we already have tons of things in the Alliance store that people want to buy. Clear tickets, energy, boosters, comic card chests, custom gear. I didn't even buy mine today, and I want to buy these. I usually end up spending 96 tokens per day out of my usual 100 because I purchased the custom gear chest once, the comic card chest once, and the enchanted Uru chest. We're going to get a 4-star attack speed Uru right here. I was close. So on top of the other rewards that they're giving out right now, which cost additional tokens, you just can't keep up. I mean, with the boost points and the hidden tickets, I'm already spending over 200, which is what I was making with the bonus event going on. So I'm already going over, and I'm going into a net deficit, which means I will run out of tokens in maybe a week if this time to event lasted forever. So making players choose between getting essential items to build their characters and playing your new game mode is not a good way of promoting anything in your game. You want players to feel like they can do everything, and you want them to feel like they are making progression without sacrificing other things. And so I think they really need to change the cost here. It should not cost Alliance tokens at all. You can make it just a straight 200,000 gold cost, the way that Alliance Battle Extreme costs 30,000 gold on Extreme mode. You can just make it a straight up gold cost, or you could make it an energy cost, or honestly, I would give it no cost. I would give possibly just a set number of tries per day, 5 attempts per day, just associated with the raid boss, and not costing anything, kind of exactly the way that we have it with Alliance co-op, or just co-op mode right now, where you don't have to pay anything, you just have a finite number of plays per day. You have 5 rewards remaining, or 5 attempts. It actually works out to much more than that. It works out to 15 minimum, even if you win first place every single time, because you have to charge up the bar to 100%. But I think a mechanic like that, where it's not actually costing you any resource or any currency, would be the best. The third kind of major problem I see behind the first two that I mentioned is the difficulty, and I think this is another one that people are definitely going to agree with. It's not hard enough. Hard mode is not hard at all. You saw I finished that in 5 seconds. Yes, I have good cards. Yes, I have good characters. But talk to anyone and they'll tell you, almost anyone, that it's way too easy. Once you have a couple of months in this game, you'll be able to just blow through these Alliance raids. and then it just feels like a chore. If it has no challenge associated with it, if it has nothing that activates your brain to start thinking about any sort of strategy, it's less of a game mode and more of a chore. You don't have to really think about what you're doing when you're dusting your desk. You just lift everything up, dust it, put everything back down, and it's kind of a mindless task. You don't want that many more mindless tasks in Marvel Future Fight. We have enough of those already. That's why we have autoplay. That's why we have clear tickets. And so we need something that's a little bit more challenging, and I think Netmarble knows how to make challenging content. World Boss Ultimate speaks to their ability to make content that's fun and challenging, sometimes a little bit broken, but that's okay. And I think that with just a few tweaks, they can make it so that the hard mode is the new easy mode, and then the normal mode is something new because I haven't played it before. And then the hard mode is probably equivalent to maybe stage 10 or stage 15 of World Boss Ultimate. That would be fun. That would be a real challenge. And then that would also give players more of an incentive to coordinate for Alliance Raid and want to play that co-op mode that I talked about where you can invite people. So those are my thoughts on Alliance Raid. Those are the rewards that you can expect. Hopefully I've shed some light on it, and if you're not playing this mode at all and you can talk to your Alliance leader to open the raid, definitely do so, because I do think it's worth it. And I think even with the full investment, 1.4 million gold, 7 days playing once per day on hard, it is worthwhile, especially if the other 39 members of your team do it and you can get all the way down to that gold box. But I think those boxes should hold some kind of reward. But let me know, sound off in the comments, let Netmarble know what you're thinking and how you feel. Anyways guys, subscribe if you enjoyed the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.